Hello, everyone. Welcome back to No Bible Podcast in 2024 with me, as always, George. Connor is somewhere in the ether and joined for the first time by a special guest, Purple Doctor himself, cosplay extraordinaire, Mr. Dominic G. Martin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, how you doing?
It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to come and review the Christmas special with us. I know we're a bit late, it being, the beginning of January, but hey ho.
Hey, it's all good.
Who's keeping track?
Better late than never, I say.
Exactly. Dom, for those that aren't familiar with you, which they damn them for not knowing who you are, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into Doctor Who?
Okay, so yeah, I'm Dom. I do a few bits about the Doctor Who community. So I'm a cosplayer. I do cosplay tutorials. I am a star of the DW 2012 fan films. I do fan audios, and I do the speed quizzes on TikTok as well. I probably do something else, but I've forgotten. So I will simply say, go on from that I got into Doctor Who, we're all the way back in 2005, but not in via conventional means. I got into it thanks to UK Gold, and the first Doctor I ever saw was Colin Baker, which was quite something.
Yes.
I remember his Dalek, Sontaran, Cybermen speech because my mum had put on the last few parts of Trial of a Time Lord, and I was very curious of what this show was because I've seen this guy in this big rainbow coat, and I was like, oh wow, he reminds me of Captain Kirk, because I was a big Star Trek fan at the time. I still am, but Doctor Who kind of accidentally took over. Yeah. And then obviously Eccleston's Doctor Who came about, got super into that, and the rest is history, really. During series 1, I ended up going to my local library and grabbing a load of the DVDs that they had at the time, just grabbing them, binge watching all the classic series stuff that they had, and that properly got me into it all. So yeah, it's been a bit of a while.
Can we push you for a favourite Doctor?
Yes, Peter Capaldi.
Oh, do you know what? I'm currently in my Capaldi renaissance because I've been watching from. I think I'm about. Where am I? I'm on Flatline, and I'm having some newfound love for Mr. PC. I must say.
Right, I have been rewatching his era, and right now I'm up to The Girl Who Died. But one thing I can take away from Series 8, one thing I can take away from Series 8 is that it is all even better than I remembered. It's just like, wow, holy crap, that's a really, really solid character work and emotional depth here that I probably didn't give as much credit when I first watched it. I liked it when I first watched it, don't get me wrong, but just watching it, I guess with the benefit of hindsight, it really has aged very well. Still never get the whole I hate soldiers bit, but little things.
Yeah, I think he's definitely like one of the best actors to portray the Doctor. Obviously, we have our incumbent, who I'm sure will blow us away with, if the first episode is anything to go by. But what would you say your favorite 12th Doctor episode is?
I mean, there's the obvious answer, but I'm going to give one that is probably a little less said, and that's going to be. Well, actually, no, that's also obvious. I'm just feeling like heaven sent. Oh wait, that's obvious. Dr. Falls. Oh wait, that's also obvious. I'm going to say Husbands of River Song.
I do. That is my favorite 12th Doctor special. I love that. It's like a big fun pantomime. I do really love Mummy on the Orient Express. I think
that is also a brilliant one.
Yeah, that feels like any Doctor could just be, placed into that, and that is like a sort of classic fundamental Who story. Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're not here to talk about the 12th Doctor. Damn and Glass, maybe next time. We are here to talk about the brand new, the 15th Doctor, Mr. Ncuti Gatwa, who stormed onto our screens Christmas Day for the first time in, was it 6 years since the Christmas special?
Yes, since Twice Upon a
Jesus.
Time, 2017. Yeah, 6 years.
Wow. That is, yeah, shameful. How did you feel, Dom, about like the 60th specials in general? Because we've kind of, as we've gone through the trilogy of them, we've asked everyone sort of how they've got on with it, and the more excitement has been towards Shooty and what's to come, rather than lamenting over a fabulous return from Tennant and Tate.
Hmm. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I am the Tennant's one of my it was my childhood favorite Doctor. Well, I say childhood, teenage years favorite Doctor. Uh, I love the 10th Doctor, still love the 10th Doctor, love the 14th Doctor, probably even more because he's just that much like he's just even more fun to watch. Even though we only got him briefly, I love the way Russell and David handled the characterization this time around. But if in terms of how I felt towards the specials, the one I really loved was Wild Blue Yonder because it felt like one that was just right up there at midnight, right up there with like Russell's best, even some of Moffat's best. It was just one of the best episodes that has been broadcast in quite some time, and I really loved it. As for the other two, I enjoyed the Star Beast. Sorry if you can hear a motorbike outside. There's just a bit of rumbling.
That's all right.
So I enjoy the Star Beast. A few bits were handled not in the way that I expected. But you know what? Overall, solid adventure, really fun. The giggle, I again enjoyed where they were going with that. I was a little bit about the whole bioregeneration thing.
Did it make you?
But you
Did it make
know,
you laugh?
sorry.
The giggle. The giggle? Did it make you laugh? I always make that joke because of the title.
Yeah, well, somewhat.
Very good impression.
No, I try. I coughed halfway through there. Yeah. I enjoyed the giggle as well. I was just, but yeah, the ending is just like it's very Marmite, isn't it? It's you either love that concept or you hate the concept. I mean, I enjoy aspects. I enjoy some aspects less of it, but I enjoy some aspects more of it. I love the idea of the Doctor getting some R&R. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about two Doctors existing in the same time frame, but you know, it is what it is, and we'll have to see how that gets on. As long as they don't let David overshadow Shooty at any point, then
Yeah,
that
I
is
think that is
fine.
the danger, isn't it?
Yeah,
Indeed.
that-
Yeah.
that's the only danger of it that I can see. But I know that Russell is obviously a smart writer. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we'll see David again until probably the 70th. I mean, let's face it, he will be back at some point. He will be back.
He'll be back for every anniversary.
I imagine so.
I can't complain. If that's the case, couldn't complain.
Yeah, he'd probably be playing the role into his 80s like Patrick Stewart as Picard. But yeah,
And even more gorgeous.
Oh yes, not that saying that Mr. Patrick Stewart is a bad-looking man. He's a very good-looking man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a very handsome man in his 80s. But you know, David's David.
David is David. I do like what you said, like about the characterization of the 14th Doctor this time around. I think I do agree with you. I think maybe just because David is such like a more phenomenal actor this time round, because we've seen him post Doctor Who, like version 1, like what he's gone on to become as an actor, and to have him back, to have Russell back, it was kind of like it was the same, but they'd obviously their life experience that they'd done between 2010 and now really shone through, and their ability was just, especially Catherine Tate as well. I think she was fantastic, and obviously she's one of the best companions. So it was nice to see her in the end come round to a better ending than she originally did. But I'm glad that all that's kind of parked now, that's done, and we can focus on a brand new Doctor, a brand new companion, and a brand new adventure, really, because he, like Shooty says, with Time Lords we do we do therapy out of order. He's only okay because David sorted himself out. So we got a carefree Doctor who's just living his best life, and we got to see him this Christmas. So spoilers if you've not watched it, what have you been doing over Christmas? Because all we're talking about is the Church on Ruby Road, the 2023 Christmas special. Either of you guys want to go first about like just general thoughts about
I
this?
mean, I've spoken enough. Connor, if you want to take the
Go
floor.
on, Connor. Say some
No worries.
things.
No worries. I just want to say, I mean, I don't want to disrespect your kind words about Peter Capaldi because I'm almost close to rewatching him on my rewatch. And I'm quite looking forward to Peter Capaldi because I don't know if it's just at the end of every Doctor, again, late series 7, this is where the show kind of dips in general, like without glossing over what we've already discussed previously and many episodes ago. Series 1 to 6 New Who is obviously the pinnacle and character of the show, but as soon as you get to series 7 part 1, I don't know what it is, my interest, my morale watching it is just drastically dipped, and I'm nearly at the end of Matt Smith and I'm eagerly looking forward to Peter Capaldi. But what I was going to say about Shooty Gatwa, I feel like I said to you, George, probably off camera or last time I saw you, I feel like Shooty has already energized into the role, like from that first scene in The Giggle that we saw him in. And I just feel like that charismatic energy gracefully was all over this episode. And I feel like each actor sort of takes their time to sort of find their stride in the role. But I feel like Shooty, since Matt Smith, has already sort of found his stride. And I feel like as soon as he was on screen, I felt like he was the Doctor from the get-go.
Yeah, he was. He's so unbelievably charismatic. Like it just
From
oozes
the
off
first
the screen.
second, from the first frame, it's just like, oh wow, like it weren't even like, oh, there's no doubt, there's no hesitation. I want to say he's the Doctor right from the get go. I loved Shooty.
You don't have a scene where he's kind of like, you're unsure and they're sort of, because normally it's from the audience surrogate, like the companion character. We just sort of jumped in and he's just doing his thing. He's already doing doctory things, like just little quirks and mannerisms. Like he just is a fully formed Doctor already.
That's
And
the thing.
it
I
was
like
also
that.
nice coming off of the back, sorry Dom, of like the Giggle where he'd had to have his first scene with David, so there was a lot that he'd had to sort of juggle in terms of like proving himself, which he did phenomenally. But now it's just him and Millie Gibson and their story, and I'm really excited for what's to come going off of this episode.
I love Millie as well. I love Ruby Sunday. That pairing, like I don't want to just buy up to the possible audience of Russell, the slim chance of him watching this podcast. But no, I love the pairing. I love both of them probably equally. I don't try and see a Doctor better than a companion in any pairing, but I just love this pairing instantly. I don't know. I feel like if we were to discuss like a possible companion ranking, I mean, I know this is really early because it's only their first time together, but I don't know. I can't wait till May, like you say. I want to see more of these two already, as well as the other characters that we can talk into further on. But I just feel like Shooty in his scenes, he's already got, like you say, the Doctor strides, and there's little quirks about this era already that are proudly Shooty's own take on things. But I'm just excited to see, again, right from the get-go, more of him and more of his mannerisms and more of his energy to the Doctor, more of his energy to the role. I just loved him. I loved him.
Absolutely. No, I adored Shooty in this. I adored him the Giggle as well. As soon as he came on screen, I was just like, wow, no, he's almost by default in control. He has just this energy about him that is just so fierce. There's charisma, as you were saying. It's so fun to watch, and he is just a marvel. And the thing is, as well, like, he feels so fresh and unique. He feels so unique as an incarnation already. Like, there's certain elements of his performance, just how he moves, how he speaks, everything feels so fresh. And like with previous Doctors, you can usually tell that some in previous incarnations have inspired them a bit, like with Capaldi. You can see a Pertwee influence. With Matt Smith, you can see a Troughton influence. With a Jodie, you can see a Tennant influence, arguably. But with Shooty, none of that. He's him. He's 15. 15 is his own person, well and truly, completely. And I think that is remarkable when you consider that there have been between 15 and 17 plus takes on this role. To have that level of like confidence, it's a bold start. and I cannot wait to see how he goes forward from this.
Oh, absolutely. Also, the best dressed Doctor, I think, already, and we've only seen 2 of his many outfits.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
Yeah.
he is.
Have you got a
oh,
cosplay for 15? You have, haven't you?
I've got a few. Yeah, so I put together his the outfit that he wears in Church and Ruby Road because that's my favorite. In fact, that's one of my favorite Doctor looks probably ever. It looks amazing. The long leather coat, the stripy top. God, that is a bold look, and yet it just feels so right.
Does,
It's so
yes.
simple, yet it's just so brilliant. No, I really like it. Really, really like his fashion choices. And I mean, it helps that Shooty is a fashionista himself, and he'll know all the fashion trends and everything. You know what's in, what's out, etc. And obviously, I'm very sure the costume department is probably like working with him very, very closely, and he is just doing he's doing the physicality of the Doctor justice through this outfit sense. And there are so many outfits to come in later in the series that are just so cool, very fancy, very casual. It's nice that we've gone back to the Capaldi model esque of like almost going further beyond the Capaldi model of changing the clothes, because Capaldi had the hoodies, the jumpers, the t-shirts with the formal shirts, the waistcoats, sometimes combine the two. But we've got Shooty who's now just going full on. He is dressing like he is doing what we humans do, which is dress differently every time. He is doing like the Doctor doesn't usually do that. He has that set costume, but Shooty's Doctor is acting like a human. He's changing his clothes, he's changing his outfits, which is a novelty for the Doctor, but it's something we do all the time. It's amazing. It shouldn't be amazing, but it is.
Yeah, not really
It's breaking
since
the mold.
John Pertwee and Tom Baker, when they kind of have a common look, but the outfit isn't exactly the same. But he's just full on, like you say, different outfits, but he looks amazing in every single one. Like even the one that was, released as like the common 15 look, which we've barely seen because we've seen, like you say, a lot more of him in the leather coat and the outfit for Church and Ruby Road than we have for the orange and checked ensemble. I'm looking forward to the Beatles outfit, that whole thing,
Oh,
with the Abbey
yes.
Road Studios and the suit. I mean, and same with Millie. Like she looks fabulous in everything we've seen of her coming up. So I think it's nice to have like you're getting like a best friend that that aren't afraid to give each other a hug and sort of say how they're feeling vibe, and it's going to be sort of that kind of thing, and like no love interest stuff, no like teacher student dynamic. It's just going to be two besties traveling the universe.
Exactly. I love Millie's take on the role already. Millie is doing a phenomenal job as Ruby, and I think this is going to be such, as you guys were saying, this is going to be such a brilliant pairing to watch. They're so full of energy, so charismatic, and just a plain joy to watch, which is funnily enough something that both 10 and Donna and 14 and Donna were. So it's a joy to have a different variant of this dynamic of the Doctor and their companion going through time and space and having an absolute blast. It's just infectious. It really is infectious, and it puts a smile on your face when the characters are having such a brilliant time of it.
Yeah, it is amazing to watch that. The plot of the episode, obviously, like a Doctor's first episode, generally, it's not, apart from arguably the 11th hour, they're not normally going to set your world on fire and, have this big, structured thing. It's kind of, especially on Christmas Day, you've got the basic plot of the goblins are stealing babies because they want to eat them. You don't get much simpler than that. I like the build up with the Doctor and Millie at the club. I love the whole gin and tonic division line, like just the way he just is. It's so hard to describe, isn't it? But he just is the Doctor. Like you just see him, and like this is the man who's just across this universe. And I really hope we're getting more than 2 series out of him. I really do. I want so much Shooty.
I'd be so gutted.
I feel like Shooty, for those that are possibly, I mean, there's always going to be that initial doubt of any new actor stepping into the role, and oh, is this Doctor going to be as good as the previous? But I feel like just from the first scene from in the club and everything, I just feel like Shooty had or distilled any little tiny doubt I had, but I felt like he would have proved some people wrong. I think some people won't like him for just how he is as a person, but that's just people and you can't please everyone. But I just feel like he did shut up a lot of doubters, even people that I know personally, obviously without naming and shaming, but they all watched the Christmas episode with a bit more of a skepticism view going, I'm not sure. And then by the end of it, they're all like, no, he's really good in the role. So Shooty, I think, has doubted some silences, at least from my personal perspective. But
Oh yeah,
No, absolutely.
what did we make of the sort of the new, sort of new law of luck, like in the Doctor Who universe? I like, it was a new language to him, and sort of learning all that science, and that there's
the
actually
language of the
something behind that, which the showrunners are normally very good at. That taking something completely ordinary and putting the sci-fi spin on it.
I enjoyed that aspect of the episode for sure. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, they hadn't really played about with that sort of thing previously. I mean, I could be wrong, but it felt, again, very new, and it felt like it was definitely pushing Who towards this more fantasy-esque element, which is going to be interesting because I feel like that's sort of the way that they said it was kind of going to be moving, maybe. As opposed to hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
But no, I really liked that, like, the whole coincidences thing. It was intriguing. It was very intriguing. And I mean, there were certain aspects that were a little bit like, like poor Davina McCall being like destroyed by the universe just for like them having fun. The goblins, I mean. But yeah, it's unique. It's fancy. It lended an atmosphere to this special that is unlike any of the previous Christmas specials, and that's kind of it gave a different vibe, and I respect it for that.
Yeah. Do you obviously we start with the scene, sort of going back a bit, of Ruby getting left at the church on Ruby Road. I think someone said it takes place like a week after the Doctor seeing Rose in the end of time, like, have a really great year. That's so weird to me that there's that companion exists at that time, and it's so strange. But we'll come back to the skepticism of who possibly may or may not be taking Ruby to her eventual destination. Do we think we're getting a sort of companion mystery box thing again, a la like the girl who waited, the impossible girl kind of thing? Because it feels sort of almost like RTD doing a Moffat companion ish sort of thing.
It is a little, isn't it? I mean, I think that it's going to be the mystery of her mum, isn't it? I feel.
Yeah. That's going to be more the typical RTD, plot arc. This is the big reveal at the end. Yeah. Aside from that, literally, it does feel very Moffat-y, but it is like, even with the going back to the 60th and the whole like, oh, the boss won't be pleased with or whatever during the 60th. Like, who's the boss? RTD's definitely putting things and setting seeds early for things to come during Shooty's era. So whether or not we'll get payoff in May or June, whatever, but there's definite RTD style plot arcs coming, and one of them's going to be like, who's Ruby's parents, but hopefully it will lead into bigger, wider things, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that is going to be, I hope it's going to be an odd one, because it's sort of like reminds me of the whole like, who is River Song from many years ago, and hopefully it'll be satisfying, but it's difficult to imagine what it is. Even I just hope it's a well-plotted mystery, but I mean, I can't imagine being shocked by it unless they introduce these characters at some point, which you'd be like, oh, they could never be the parents. Oh, they are. Oh well. I don't know. I don't know which direction they're going to go from it, because it's going to take a degree of investment. So it's all about getting us invested.
It is. As we carry on, we meet Ruby's mother and grandmother. they are amazing, and I hope we see a lot more of her
Mm.
family, throughout season 1, should I say. And it was nice that little moment as well when the Doctor talks about being adopted as well. So we're getting, a timeless child payoff, and that's going to sort of spark their friendship. Really, it's going to sort of be based off of that they're two sort of lost kids that have found each other and are finding the universe, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah, I found it very fascinating how the new backstory of the Doctor is being pushed into this their friendship, and I think that's a really good way to bond them together. Having an orphan meet an orphan, and they're kindred spirits.
Yes.
So I think that is a very, very strong starting point. So I very much look forward to how that aspect will develop. I mean, I doubt. I mean, I don't know if Russell was going to pick up the mystery of the Doctor's original species, but who knows what he's going to do?
Yeah, well, at least he's certainly like not ignoring it. So it's even if he's just done that to piss off the people that didn't like it, you've got to kind of respect his level of commitment.
Yeah.
I love Cherry Sunday. She was amazing.
Oh, get her the cup of tea.
Literally, please. I hope we see more of both of them in season. Do we know if we've got more of the family in season 1? Anyone? Because I've not really
Don't know.
read up on it.
I mean, I would Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, what did you say, Connor? That sounded like you was underwater with a menace.
Yeah, I'm going to Google it. So I'm going to put the Google to the internet.
Okay. My only problem, it's not really a problem with this special, is that I wish we'd spent a bit more time in the alternative timeline bit where the goblins can sort of partially time travel, we discover, and they go back and then they steal Ruby when she was a baby. We kind of weren't in that long enough, because I know we got the gist of the effects when the Doctor's talking to Ruby's mum, and then really effectively you see the pictures on the fridge. Like, I thought that was like it was really well put across. It would have been nice to sort of see like a bit more of that than we were there, and then he just going back and saving her. But that was also nice because it was like, we'll just save the day because it's Christmas and it's not got to be complicated. It's just got to be fun.
Yes. No.
Yeah, the goblins themselves, they were I mean, they're great design on the because on Doctor Who Unleashed, the actual physical costumes for the actors and the puppet for the Goblin King, like that's such a great piece of work.
Oh,
And
it really
seeing the
was.
Doctor and Ruby sing,
Yeah, they did a good job. Like, they have great singing voices.
they do.
They really do. And the original singer as well of the Goblin Song, Christina Rotondo, did a fantastic job as well. It was just so great.
Yeah, it didn't seem out of place, did it? I know people complained a bit like, or some minority of the internet probably complaining about it having the goblins sing on, but it just is. It's them. That's their species. That's what they do. Like, it's not got to have a big convoluted reason as to why it happens. I think the song's quite good. I can't get over Shooty's reaction to when they start playing it on, I think it's Radio 2 with Joe Wiley, and he just starts laughing as they start the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a basic villain. It's maybe we might see them in the future, but it's one of those things that we can sort of get to grips with them quite quickly. We know their motivations. They want to eat babies. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's it's kind of they are just monsters.
And
that's
at least we didn't actually see them eat the baby, so that's
that would have been
there was
too
limits.
far. Yeah, I don't think the BBC would allow that to air.
Not that early. What else? I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to state other things other than just Shooty and Millie were amazing and it was a good episode. I'm trying to find some more things. The Mrs. Flood character. What are we thinking for her?
I hope she isn't
Yeah.
just more than a gag. I hope she just isn't a gag. Oh, you've never seen a TARDIS before, or whatever her line was. It's like, I hope there's something more to her.
Mm.
She's the key to all of this.
Yeah, I'm very not sure where they're going with that one. That just in her little fourth wall break at the end there just seemed completely out of nowhere. So I'm very interested to see if that's like going to go somewhere, if this is actually a legacy character, or someone totally new, but from a familiar background, or someone who's an associate of the boss, maybe.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know. I have
No,
no idea.
she could be Omega. She could be Omega. She could be the Rani, for all we know. Really early prediction.
Under that
So
coat
one of
is
three
a big
things is
robe.
either the Master, the Rani of Omega, or whatever.
It's never
Someone.
would you be? I don't really want him to just like, oh, it's Susan, because that makes no sense. Like, I know regeneration, whatever,
no.
but Carol Ann Ford's still alive and still with us. I'm sure
Yeah.
if they wanted Susan back, it would be her. The Rani, I
yeah.
think we agree, always pops up every time that a woman character is on screen in Doctor Who and no one
Yeah.
knows who she is. It's the Rani.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one because I'd like, because I trust Russell wherever it goes, because it will have some kind of conclusion that I'm sure will be satisfying. Whether, like you say, Dom, it's a legacy character or possibly someone new, I think would maybe make more sense. Is a lot of people saying Ruby from the future as well? Like, is there like some big time loop that's gonna collapse in on itself, and people believe she's the one taking herself to the doorstep to ultimate paradox, but. There we
Oh
go.
wow. Well.
What else can I say? Mavity still being a thing. Is this the RTD Mavity era?
It's just the Mavity era.
The Mavity era. I don't know how long they're going to keep that up.
No. I like it's kind of a shorthand for the sort of influx moments in time and space, like just Newton mishearing it from the Doctor and Donna, and then suddenly, even that line where he corrects himself, saying like in Wild Blue Yonder, like gravity. Oh no, sorry, I mean Mavity. It's like, oh, is this gonna just be the thing of this is how everything can change? Everything's on a linchpin sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be that sort of thing where you just know that someone later is going to say gravity and everyone's going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then one day in a couple of Doctors' time, it will just be gravity again because that's what happens. Yeah. Everything's in continuity and nothing's in continuity. That's the best thing about sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because it all matters and none of it matters.
Next showrunner will be back to gravity.
Possibly when Moffat comes back in like 6 years' time. We just go through the same 3 showrunners until one of them dies.
Oh my goodness.
The conclusion, like the Doctor I like the sort of, it's the Chekhov's gun thing of, we were introduced to the psychic gloves, which I think were a very cool piece of technology in the beginning, redistributing his weight. So it's just his hand, and even the reverse of it when they escape with, what is that baby's name?
Lulubelle.
Lulubelle. Such a cool name. Yeah, such a cool name.
When they escape with her, making reversing it so then they become heavier. So that played well into the defeat of the Goblin. Spoilers, when it's just Shooty Gatwell pulling a Goblin ship through the spire of a church and killing a big fat Goblin. That
was or was not Willem Dafoe voiceover. That definitely had to be Willem Dafoe on set, and no one's admitting it. You can't get the Goblin King and not get Willem Dafoe on set. I mean, you had Neil Patrick Harris for God's sake a month ago, so.
But yeah, the appeal is there. Like we could hopefully have anyone we would like to see, but
yeah.
I saw while we're talking about the gravity gloves, I saw a dark TikTok suggesting that the reason why the gravity gloves are just now a thing because Shooty himself in the 60th anniversary specials mentioned prior companions, and of course one of the names that was name dropped was Rose. So the gloves are kind of like a visual reminder of Doomsday and the tragedy of that scene all those years ago. And it was just one of those random TikToks I was scrolling through, and I kind of thought, this obviously ain't going to come up. There probably isn't the reason for it, but I can't help but acknowledge it. And I thought, well, it does bring the weight and tragedy behind this newly fresh Doctor's name. It was just a silly TikTok, but I kind of did thought, oh, nice. If
Suggestive
the
idea.
slightest chance of that, yeah, if it had the slimmest chance of it being addressed, then that would be a cool idea. But other than that, I just thought it was a nice little fan TikTok. I can't remember the TikTok, so I can't give you a shout out, but I like that. And again, it's not just happy, glorious Doctor. Like, yeah, this Doctor's obviously been there, done that, and he is the Doctor that's had a rest and is ready to travel the universe with a friend. But obviously the weight and the burden and the tragedy and the loss and everything sad is obviously still behind Shruti's incarnation. I just thought, yeah, it can't be forgotten. Remember, R.I.P. Rose.
I don't think we'll see it yet, because this is
No.
It felt like this was, angled more at the Disney Plus audience than the other three, because it was and here's the start of Doctor Who. Don't worry about all those other seasons. This is, watch from here, and then if you're brave, go back. It leaves a lot of that baggage. It's what was because I think the average rating for the 4 specials, if you include Christmas with the 60th, I think it was like 7.78 million across the the average across the 4 of them.
I mean, I believe I think the Giggle was the only one not to get over 7 million in the ratings.
Which is not bad, considering I think what the Flux was like about 4.5 million average or something like that, if I remember my figures.
Yeah, roughly. I mean, I can't quite. I don't have them memorized, but it was.
I only remember because I think George Sheard put a graph up because he'd updated it for the new specials about like the viewing average. I think I saw that like briefly on my feed this morning, but a strong start. A lot of people saw it. A more general audience, I think. The specials obviously helped sort of bring a lot of naysayers and basic fans back. Just look, here's David, and now here's the real star. I think it's just a shame for me that we're only getting 8 episodes. I know we're going to get them 8 episodes a year, which I don't care how much we get, but on a consistent basis will be nice. It's just it's gonna be such a shame that we don't have 13 episodes like the old days, but TV unfortunately is so expensive to make. The trailer,
there's barely any series now.
The trailer, what do we make of the trailer for season 1? Sorry, Connor, what did you say?
No, I was just going by the lack of episodes. Hopefully, quality over quantity. But that could be. We say that about everything, but yeah.
Yeah, 8 episodes, 9 episodes a year if we get a Christmas special every year.
That's the thing. I mean, barely any series manage to really be above 10 these days.
Yeah, that kind of seems
unless
unless
you're in America, in which case it's constantly churning.
Yeah.
But even those, they're kind of slowing down on a lot of their old sort of like 24 episode season things. I think it's the generation of shorter attention spans. Unfortunately, and like you say, the rising costs of television. So even like your sitcoms are probably topping out at like 10 to 18 a season. I know we've got like the likes of the Disney Plus, like Marvel stuff, for example, that fluctuate between sort of, I'm guessing, how much good story they've got to tell and how popular the character is. So like Daredevil getting 18 episodes because everyone's, love that character, and you get Echo getting 6-7 episodes, I think, all out tomorrow, for example. So it kind of fluctuates that way. So 8 a year for at least 2-3 years, I think will be fine by us as 3 gentlemen who love Doctor Who and want more Doctor Who all the time.
Yeah, and obviously they will be talked about throughout each year, no doubt.
Yeah, and it keeps the momentum up, doesn't it? Because that's the one thing with Jodie is like we had Series 11, and just when interest was generating and getting higher, then you'd have like a year off, and you just kind of have to start again. And for that to happen, for 2 or 3 series, really was like we've previously done a review with Will, Andy, and Mike about that whole era. Like, I just wish someone at the BBC cared enough to put it on every year, because she'd probably be highly regarded a lot more than she is.
That's the thing. It's all about circumstance, really. I don't
Mm.
know if they would have been able to actually pull it off in getting it every year unless they delayed the run further to start in 2019 and then carry on to 2020. I don't
Possibly.
know. It's interesting to think about, really. But then again, you wonder if having a gap of about a year plus is too much for an introduction to a new Doctor.
Yeah.
And so I given the way television production has been moving and how it must have been to film, how long it was taking, and of course with the added curse of COVID impacting flux and everything, I guess the Chibnall era was a victim of circumstance, honestly,
Yeah,
in
which
terms of
is a
its
great
airing.
shame. Well, when you
Mm.
compare, so what the Giggle and the Church on Ruby Road was it 2.5 weeks
About
gap?
that too, yeah, about
Yeah,
2 weeks.
something like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we've only got, we say only, it seems like a lifetime away. We've only got well, just under 4 months now, hopefully. If it's first, as soon as it hits May, get an episode out.
May the 1st. Yeah.
Until season 1. What did you guys think of the trailer? We didn't get much, but we got just
No.
snippets of little things and different lights. I mean, Dom, how did you feel about the TARDIS lighting up purple? Because that looked gorgeous.
Oh, didn't it look good? It looked good. I like that. Keep that. Yeah, no, the trailer was great. It's very enticing, very exciting. Obviously, we're gonna get a fair few of that because we're gonna get the full Disney Plus push soon, I guess.
Yes.
But for now, I am very, very intrigued as to what they got to offer. I mean, we've obviously seen bits and pieces from all the filming, but I really want to see that Beatles episode. I really do.
Yes. Is that the one with is
Um,
Jinx Monsoon in the guest star for that one?
I'm assuming so. We don't know for certain. I mean, it would make sense.
Because I know the toy maker said about his emissaries or other people coming, and is like,
Mm.
are we having the music maker? Are we having like a
Oh,
a full on
Music
musical
Man.
episode, like musical warfare?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Oh wow, another sing-off. Another sing-off.
I'd love that.
I
Like
mean,
lip
yeah,
sync
that's the
battle,
thing.
but good.
I'm down for that. I'm down. I mean, I've said a RuPaul's Drag Race. I know these things. I think it'd be quite fun.
Well, but it
All
just
we
looks like
all we
mystery,
kind of know,
intrigue.
and
fun.
all I know is I've read it. Oh, Russell has kind of said like, quote unquote, it will be controversial. I mean, again, it hasn't implied exactly what it all
Oh,
means, but then that's even the 60th in a way of controversial. The giggle twists would be
yeah.
viewed as controversial to some. That's just Russell sort of saying, yes, people won't be pleased with everything I do this season, but if you don't like it, then just switch off. Don't be a mean person bashing something that other people love, but controversy apparently would be coming.
He's
We
not
can say that
making
about
it for the
everything.
masses, is he? He's making it
No,
for those
exactly.
who love
For
Doctor
the crowd,
Who.
for our audience. Yeah.
And of those in the general audience who vibe with it are along for the ride.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and by the sounds of it, we are definitely along for the ride. If you had to, I know we don't really do arbitrary ratings, but if you guys had to give this episode a ranking, like I'd say probably about a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
I think that's fair. Yeah, 7.5, 8. Yeah, I'd say the same.
Yeah, I think in the solid 8. Yeah, it might improve over time depending on how more shooty we get shortly, if all goes to plan. But I mean, even amongst the Christmas specials, I think it's ranked highly. I don't know about again the numbering for definite, but I think it would rank highly in like the Christmas special rankings to come.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I think the Christmas specials after Christmas Invasion were just trying to be something, and
That again,
as much as there's certain ones that I love and have loved more over time, like Christmas Carol, Voyage of the Damned, things like that. This was just, I loved that it was just a story that happened to be happening at Christmas. It wasn't just Christmas is a fundamental thing of this, and we have to include Christmas and snow and have to have all these things. They were there, but just because that's when it was happening, like it was just background noise. It didn't have, like, it could have just been set in at any time, and I think that was what was good about it. It was just an episode of Doctor Who at Christmas.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Right. So with that, we don't really know do we know what episodes what in the order? I know that Mel's in the finale, and I
Yeah.
think the musical one's the second one. But apart from that, we've not really got titles or many synopses. So
I don't know what's going on in episodes 1 or whatever. I don't know what. Nobody knows anything apart
No
from what
one
we've seen in the
knows.
trailer. Apart from obviously RTD and the team behind it, but
Again, all we know is that going by a couple of websites, we've got the Church of Ruby Road, and then episode 2's name is The Devil's Called.
Okay.
Yeah,
Directed
which we're
by Ben
assuming is the
Chesil.
Beatles one.
The Devil's Called, and then the rest of them are just TBA. So we know episode 2's
Yeah.
title, and that's it. The directors of the episodes, but other than that, it's just TBA 2024. No dates even in May. It just says May 24.
I mean, hopefully we'll find out about the guest writers as well.
Yes.
I mean, I know there's the Kate Herron, isn't it, from Loki?
Yes.
She's written one of them, isn't she?
Yeah.
Episode 6.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. So that
Something
means
to
we
look
don't know
forward to.
who's doing 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I presume Russell will be doing 1, and then probably
1,
8
7,
or
8,
7 and
I'd
8 if it's a
assume.
two-parter. Yeah.
Well, we will find out in due course. Until then, Dom, would you be happy or available to come back for a season 1 review with us? Any episode of your choosing?
Of course. Yeah. By all means, happy to do so.
Lovely. It is honestly, it's
having me.
been really nice to have you on. Like, you haven't been on before. We've obviously worked together briefly thanks to our mutual overlord, Will Templar. So we have him to thank for this. Is there anything you want to plug as we sort of wrap this one up?
I mean, just my socials, really. You can find me at Dominic JGM on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, you can find me at Dominus of Time. And yeah, that is basically all I've got going. The DW 2012 Series 5 finale will be early this year. Yeah, in a couple of months. So that'll be the final one with the Purple Doctor, Megan, and Tommy for now. I mean, who knows what could happen in the future? Because we've just put all our effort into doing this episode. We'll see what happens, because by God, it's a big one.
Like, yeah, your effort that you put into those, like, it is like phenomenal compared to what you see on the internet. Like, I really do admire what you do with that. Like, you work really hard, and it's purely from the heart, and you can really see that.
Thank you, thanks. And it was all down to us, and was the showrunner Luke, and we just have a ball of a time making it, and hopefully it goes down well.
I'm sure it will, and hopefully, possibly in the future, some more. You don't know what the future may hold. Possibly some more, guys. We might get more.
We take nothing for granted.
Exactly. Until then, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Connor, do you want to hit the outro and, I don't know, say something funny?
Say something funny. Yes, well, it's the first time we'll be saying it this year, but thank you for listening to an episode our first episode in 3 weeks has it been? I can't even remember when we stopped recording.
I can't even remember what you look like. I don't know who you are.
I know,
it's
been... Who am I? Yeah, our first episode in 3 weeks, the first of the new year. I mean, new year, and it's 8 days in already? 9 days in, the 9th of Jan. Guys, rate, comment, subscribe. You found us on YouTube somehow. Find us on Facebook, X for Stream for Elon. No, kidding, not for Elon, but X, Instagram, Twitch, one day, TikTok, and all the other relevant socials. MSN, if we somehow end up on there, who knows what happens to time.
Yeah, well.
Stay tuned. Next week, I mean, I won't just be recapping it, but next week I kind of want to go through our 2023 list of movies and give it a revised edition, because my God, I feel like December 2023, apart from Christmas, I personally have discovered some really good movies that I missed in our last recording. So I kind of want to go over the year that was 2023 again, as well as maybe advise on what to watch in 2024, but as well as looking forward to more Doctor Who, because it just felt so right on Christmas Day. It
Yeah.
it was amazing to watch it at Christmas.
It was. And what did you guys think of the church on Ruby Road? Obviously, it's a bit late. We should have asked this question a few weeks ago. But let us know. Are you excited for Shooty Gatwa? Of course you are, because you're only human. What are you wanting from season 1? Are we going to get a Doctor that breaks the 3-season mold? Hopefully. Come on, Shooty. At least 4 seasons.
Come on.
By going
Yeah,
over it, not under it, over
Yeah.
it.
Because he's filmed back to back because he wants to do more theatre work and stuff in between, which is fine. It's fine. Just come back and do some more, Shooty, please. Please. At least.
Yeah, but knowing him,
4.
he'll do it in 6 months, and he will come out by December 2024. He would have said, "Oh, I've already done 6 seasons." Hopefully, being optimistic. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've accidentally filmed 7 years worth of footage. So I'll see you in a few years.
Accidentally surpasses Tom Baker's entire reign. Oopsie daisy, how to do that.
Now would we ever see that? We can dream. As always, thank you to Dom, thank you to Connor, and thank you you, the audience at home. And we'll see you guys next week for more. Hopefully.